You're listening to the Mission Makers Show, a podcast that inspires humans to get into the mindset of success. My name's Farah Nanji, and I'm the founder of a business in the motorsports industry that explores leadership lessons from things like Formula One. I'm also a DJ and music producer in the underground electronic scene, and a public speaker on key topics like resilience, building high-performance teams, overcoming learning difficulties, and stimulating creativity. And to tie it all together, I love writing thought-provoking content as a journalist for these industries which are so unique in themselves. On this show, I'm sitting down with some of the most inspiring and driven people I've met around the world to talk about their processes, their failures, the lessons they've learned, and how they are truly making an impact for this world. Hey, and welcome back to Mission Makers. We've got a special bonus episode for you guys today. This was a session recorded live at the Women Automotive Network's Spring Meetup. The Women Automotive Network is a community dedicated to empowering women in the automotive industry. Their events bring together leaders from all over the world, featuring keynotes, panel discussions, interactive workshops, speed networking, and a lot more, with over 25,000 members in their network. At the Spring Meetup, there were inspiring speakers from companies like Audi and Bose, and I got to moderate an incredible session with leaders from Mercedes-Benz and Nissan Africa. So let's dive straight in. Hope you are all having a great day and been enjoying the summit today. We're here to talk about how women can empower, inspire, and succeed, because it often takes a village to reach key milestones that we may have for ourselves and for our respective companies. And as each one of us rises, we all rise. And I'm extremely honored to be joined by two ladies really leading the field in the industry. So welcoming Silvia Bechmann, the CEO of Mercedes-Benz IO, and Nancy Moodley, Head of Customer Experience, Digital and CRM of Nissan in the African region. So welcome, ladies. How are you both doing today? And would you like to introduce yourselves as well to our wonderful audience? And Silvia, we'll start with you.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing very well, and a pleasure to be here and together with Nancy, Ferry, and all the people who are joining us. So, Silvia Bechmann, CEO for Mercedes-Benz IO, shortly from my journey in studies from information technology, started my career in Brazil, and then I worked for Whirlpool for 8 years. Then also moved to Germany and spent 22 years at Mercedes, and since 2 years now with Mercedes-Benz IO. It's a company that drives the digital transformation from Mercedes IO for Mercedes-Benz in the sales and after-sales area. And yeah, I will just pass to you, Nancy.
It's great to be here. I think from my side, I want to keep it real, and I want to be able to try and inspire everyone today. But the reality of my journey has been one that had life challenges as well as career challenges. So started in the agency arena, moved into and did a lot of disruptive corporate strategy type of approach. And we did a lot of research. So my background came from there. I've been in automotive for the last 16 years, been a product manager, so very, very, very clued up with the vehicles. Really a passion. I'm petrol head, love the racetrack. I think I've always been a tomboy, so it's just fate that put me into the automotive industry, and I love it. I absolutely do. I've been in marketing. Customer experience is what I am currently doing now. I'm responsible for customer experience, digital, CRM, but beyond, the data analytics, building the architect in the back end. And this has just increased in complexity because we are now responsible for 54 markets in Africa. And you can imagine the nuances in the different countries. So for me, it's been a real amazing career, but also it came with its challenges. From a career perspective, from a personal perspective, I had a child with a learning disability. So I had to leave work and homeschool for a while before I went back into the career. And I think it took me over 2.5 years to actually get employed again. And the reality of that was, due to the space in your CV, was a massive challenge to get back into the career world again. So yeah, it's real, but if I can do it, anyone else can do it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much both for sharing your amazing backgrounds, and we're going to be talking a lot today, from overcoming potential biases in the hiring and promotion process to the importance of mentorship, disruptive thinking, misconceptions around AI, and balancing our professional goals with our personal commitments. My name is Farah Nanji. I'm the CEO of Regents Racing. We explore how leadership lessons from things like Formula One and Formula E can impact leadership. And we work a lot with Formula One factories and different automotive companies like Land Rover, Aston Martin, and a few others. And we're based in London. So let's kick it off. Hopefully the echo has gone. Maybe if a few others can just confirm that in the chat. I saw that there was a few mixed comments about that. But let's lay the baseline. What do you both believe are the most interesting challenges, and in the same breath, exciting opportunities for women in the automotive industry at the moment? And Nancy, maybe you can kickstart it.
Look, I think interesting challenges and opportunities, especially in the field that I am in, is the evolution of where automotive is moving. Mobility, as you know it, selling cars is not where we're going to lead to, and it's transforming very fast. We as women, as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, I think a lot of the empathy, the compassion, the ability that is going to be part of that transformation is where the opportunity lies. The reality of where we're going into a CX world where the industrialization of the way our current automotive works is going to radically change. We have to look at it from an outside-in type of process where the customer becomes the core. We sell cars, and that's what our basis of our company is. And what we do is actually supporting people. So I think if we change our mindset on realizing that in order for us to evolve to this level, the female actually has the compassion, the kindness, the empathy that is required for that evolution, even though it might be digitized.
Absolutely. Silvia, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there are huge opportunities at the moment for women in the automotive industry, and I think exactly what you can bring with the different perspectives and insert diversity on this will make definitely then the difference at the end. I can say fields like autonomous driving or sustainable mobility, but I would like to highlight field that I'm passionate about and that I'm currently acting in, and this is the digital transformation. So if you just look to the whole journey, the customer journey, we definitely need here to invest in more precisely configurators for the cars, the virtual showrooms. Nancy also mentioned the whole CRM, customer relationship management. And for that, there are so many new skills that we need to learn also to accompany those journey. So everything around the data analyst, the data analytics, data insights, and on top the soft skills that many of you already bring with you as well will help them to overcome this big challenge that we can here make a difference. If you look to the statistics at the moment in Europe, if you look to the indicator of ICT, this is the information and technology communication, you are represented with 19%. So women are 19% in this scenario. And this is not good. I think you have here an opportunity to change this and make this whole thing really here more diverse and come then with the results that we can achieve together. This is for me a big, very opportunity that you have.
Definitely. We really are at a turning point. in history with so much disruption and yet so many exciting opportunities coming our way. And so, Nancy, I know you came into your role from a different industry, and I'm wondering what kind of advice would you give to people who are looking to transition from a completely different sector, and also similarly people who may be looking to switch roles within the automotive industry?
Look, I think everyone is able to learn and train. Each one of us has been in our industry for quite some time and have done numerous different jobs. And I think once you get into any specific industry, you need to think about it in a different perspective. You're also bringing something to it. You bringing your personality, your values, your skill set, and your talent that is going to enhance that position anyway. That's one. The second one is a lot of what we learn, think about it. In university, you're studying, and what you learn, you're applying it into your new job. There's a lot of learning and training that needs to happen. Your attitude, your ability to really transform and to consistently change, because it's, as you know, automotive is changing rapidly. We're in an environment that is consistently changing. The technologies are changing. And so you got to be able to want to be in that position and learn. The change in position, it is necessary. I think the broader you actually have a skill set, especially in automotive, it gives you a number of different opportunities. I've been in product, in pricing, in a whole list of other, direct. And as a product manager, you actually have the opportunity to run your own business, because every vehicle has its own business, literally from start to end. So that gives you a real understanding of various parts of the business. The second part is your passion is what you need to live by. And within the organization, you probably have a lot of opportunity to move into an area that you're really passionate about. The number of hours that we work and balancing your life so that I used to work like 16 hours a day, and of recent I've changed that because again I think we use the overworking as something that we want to brand ourselves by, but in reality we still need to have a balanced life. And I think it's important for us to actually work in a job that you love and that you're passionate about, because that 16 hours doesn't really matter anymore. It becomes something that you really enjoy. So go for it. Don't restrain yourself. You learn, and you can learn fast. And definitely. I think as females, we adapt very rapidly. We go through many challenges, and that challenges are what gives us a confidence. The knowledge that we expand our knowledge across multiple areas of the business gives us even more confidence.
Speaking of confidence, I'm curious if along your journey, have either of you ever had imposter syndrome, and what would be some of your thoughts on overcoming, maybe gender-based challenges, stereotypes and biases? How would you overcome that?
Yeah, I can do that. And thank you for raising these questions. Overcome bias is a very important topic that you need to talk about it. And what helped me most, it's really to focus on my strengths. How can I contribute to the whole? How can I create impact with my strengths and really bring it and the things to the table? With that, I think I could also then, open doors and even inspire others, encourage others to make more inclusive environment. Because then it's not just to talk about it, it's really showing the importance and how this whole different perspective have contributed to the whole thing, the meaningful decisions then. And if you observed, since the studies, as I mentioned, I studied math with information technology at that time, so it used to be a very dominant environment, male. And then additionally coming to the IT whole development and environment, that's again the situation. And then in Germany, coming to the automotive industry, it's again an environment that we need to change. And I think we have a lot in our hands. You really just needed to think what is really your passion, what is your strength, focus on this, make a difference, create impact, never stop developing and taking other skills and combining with the soft skills. It just can work. This is what I would say. That just can work. That's where the magic happens. Thinking positively and investing on that.
Amazing.
I
Thank you
think
so much.
I can
For
add
sure.
to that. I agree. We are part of that change. The one key thing that I have experienced multiple times, I think, not just gender bias, but also you tend to you need to overcome race as well. So South Africa is known for racism, but there's a lot of opportunity to change that. I think we should not sit on the sideline. We really need to be part of that change. And you should, if something is happening in front of you and you can see that there is a bias, sometimes actually people don't realize that they're actually doing it. And if you don't bring it to their attention and you nip it in the bud, you won't change culture. And for me, I did that. There was a number of times where it was I didn't have the confidence to actually open up and say it, but it got to me to an extent that I had to eventually do it. And once I started doing it, I realized a lot of people don't realize what they're actually doing and that it impacts somebody else. So bring it to their attention, in a diplomatic way, but address it.
100%. We should never be afraid to speak up for and call out, things that make us feel uncomfortable, and also go against our morals and our values. And so on the topic of like biases and stuff, what would be some of your thoughts, Silvia, on overcoming these potential biases in the hiring and promotion process, especially when it comes into breaking into traditionally male-dominated roles?
So, and what I have done, and this is a very complex thing, right? One thing that I did, I took members from my teams, from Germany, from Portugal, male, female, and said, like, guys, let's learn about it. Then we took together a course at INSEAD that it's about diversity and inclusion. So it was a certain period that we, some weeks that we did in our hub time. Let's learn how we can really overcome those challenges. And there are a set of measures that I set in the company that I think that are contributing so much. One example is really here conducting those trainings about unconscious bias, because as we mentioned, maybe I didn't realize it, but some people did, and that's very important that I tackle that. So also when you are recruiting, for example, the job posting, sometimes I was also not realizing, but we are using some words that they are not so the ones when we want to have more females in the company. For example, words like aggressive, ambitious, competitive. Men love those words, and normally women connect more with collaborative, commitment, and I need to pay attention that I don't create stereotypes here, but it is it's very important learning that we took at that time. Also doing a blind resume screening, that was an important step as well. And everything around promotion. So it's extremely important. And I love the exercise, because even now, doesn't matter, male or female, they are everybody embracing this. And when we are doing our salary rounds, for example, so everybody's really here paying attention and raising the point, oh, let's check, how does it look to the other side, and really working with data, that it's not just more in a perception way, is really looking to data, that we're here having a fair compensation, that we're having here clear opportunities for promotion. And I think in this way, we got a lot in the company, and we're multiplying that. So I'm having now people really here making sections for inclusion, for diversity, and also what we're doing here today, talking about this, exchanging, that then get this spirit also in the whole company and outside the company. Those are some measures that we have here achieved.
Absolutely.
Farah, I would like to just add to that. So there's one of the HR directors actually mentioned once to me, when they are interviewing male versus interviewing females, when you're given the remuneration package, it is 80% of the time that a male will negotiate well. A female just accepts it. And that is something we as individuals need to change. You should believe in yourself, believe in your value, and do your homework before you go into a negotiation. And don't underestimate what you should be negotiating. So in reality, it's us as females. We tend to just accept, and we shouldn't.
Very well said. Ultimately, it's our ability, though, to think differently that sets us apart. And so, Nancy, how can innovative and disruptive thinking be taught and cultivated?
So, in innovation and disruption can be taught, because there's a lot of different. I've just finished my CX Masters accreditation, and it was amazing, because I think in the current way of thinking and using Six Sigma and the strategies and tools that we actually previously had, we always looked at process engineering and CX specifically. We looked at very soft skills, and there's no return on investment. No, it isn't. Innovation can be put into numbers. It actually can be measurable. You can actually show the company the ROI, and you can deliver on that ROI. Because I think the misunderstanding that, the innovation doesn't immediately show return on investment, it is possible. What we have to do is learn those tools, train each individual, and don't keep it to yourself. I think the previous speakers mentioned the same thing. If you teach every single individual, I was currently setting up an innovation hub. One key thing that needs to happen there is allowing and empowering the voice of the employee, firstly, and making that employee, if they bring a challenge to the table, make them part of that innovation solution. Train them through every different solution that you come up with. Let them be part of it. And then you're going to change your attitude, your behavior, and the whole culture of the organization. So it is possible. And I think the other key element is don't restrict yourself. If you, Steve Towers, one of the top CXs in the world, mentioned this. If you teach people to do dumb things, they'll become experts at doing dumb things. If you restrain your employees and not allow them to think for themselves and empower them, you will definitely never have innovation and disruption. So empower yourself to think beyond, never just accept the norm, and challenge.
Absolutely. And be surrounded by diverse people in your teams as well to catalyze that thought process and showcase different perspectives. Mentorship is such a key part of career growth, and they say that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And of course, when we observe some of the greatest leaders of our time, none of them have ever stopped being mentored and mentoring others themselves, and it can really be one of the best ways to learn. And that's why I always like to have 5 mentors from different areas to help me as well along in my professional journey. But it's not easy to find, mentors. And so what advice would you have for finding the right mentor and building those relationships so that as their career develops, that they're also taking you along the way on that journey as well? And Silvia, I'll hand the mic to you for that one.
Yeah, and I think I look at certain criteria when I'm looking for a person, and exactly to build this kind of a relationship. So I think it's very important that you share the same values and principles, that those valuable values and principles are aligned with your own. And also looking for a person that has really expertise and experience in the field of I want to grow in. I think those are the basics. That's very important, because also you are spending time, and it should be very meaningful time from both sides, from myself and from the person as well. And having this foundation, this is essential. What is also something that helped me a lot, I tried to find somebody with the strengths that I have. It helps in the way that they can give you also proper tools and advice. I always say there are opportunities for all kind of people. And let's say not everybody is extrovert. And we do not need show women all the time. And those things sometimes are confused. So I admire so much a leader that I had. She spoke so silently and not a lot. But when she spoke in all those rooms, she just opened her mouth and everybody was paying attention because she was very reflective and showing then the way and techniques how she managed that, exploring her strength. It's also good when you find somebody with similarities, I think. It helps a lot. And I think what is extremely important when you have this person that you say the values, the principles are fitting, that you have here a very trustful relationship, because you do need to be open here for the feedback. The mentor should be somebody who is continuously challenging your thinking, push you, push the boundaries, push you outside the comfort zone, and also provide you all the time a very constructive feedback. And for that, it's very important that you have somebody who you trust, who you know is with you to make you grow. And I think it's always and all the time that I have this kind of a relationship. Doesn't matter if I am in the mentor or mentee role, they're always fruitful, and it just was college time for me.
Nancy, what's your experience being in mentorship?
I think especially on mentorship, having somebody that a perfect fit is always difficult to get. But I think the challenge that you face is, it's not really a challenge. I think the reality of you being a mentee as well is something that you should actually thrive on, because it's surprising how much you can learn from your mentees. If you're a mentor and you've got mentees, you can actually learn quite a bit from them themselves. I think for me, it is more important to find someone that is actually really altruistic and trying to take you with and have your best interests at heart. But I also agree with Silvia, when you are given feedback and you're able to change yourself and to learn from that, it is extremely important to have someone that is going to be upfront. The drive for you to learn and grow is something that you need to already understand. Where is your strengths? What is your weaknesses? Where do you want to actually have the right mentor to train you? I think building a CDP is also important. Once you do a CDP, because you're doing a SWOT on yourself, and keeping that SWOT as a live document, because you learn, you train, you change. Be honest with yourself, completely open and honest. Know where's your areas of growth, and then match that the person that's going to help you with those specific areas of growth.
Definitely. And we had a question come in from our audience, from Stephanie, that Silvia, what if you don't have such kind of a mentor available in your company? Where would you advise that they go seek that type of guidance?
I think there are many opportunities around you. I would not just look, in the company, but something that I also have had when we were looking for these skills. So we are going, I think, also to explore those areas where we're learning. So you can go to meetups or meetings and then start connect. And then, this is also something, all the relationships, invest some time on that. And this could be a very good opportunity. Other places that I already had this is when I'm upskilling. I'm looking for some skills that I don't have in certain courses. There are also certain communities. And then you by working and creating the impact, you get to know the people as well. And then it develops also. So I think those are two very concrete cases that I have had in my journey. Yes.
Good. Now, when it comes to obviously dedicating our time to a company, there's an overwhelming amount of options out there when it comes to actually navigating not only companies but also the responsibilities that come with a role. And of course, time is undoubtedly our most precious currency. So what kind of advice would you both give on how to actually decide who to dedicate your time to beyond just the lens of a title?
I think I think we in such a dynamic environment, and you're pushing priorities all the time. So dedicating your time to to what is a burning issue is something that we do all the time, unfortunately. So I think for me, what I do for my team, and this is something that I really have done for a very long time across my career, is I set up one-on-ones. Even if you're not directly reporting to me, I create the opportunity to make sure that I'm supporting all of them and giving my time wherever necessary. The one key thing that I've done also is there's a lot of opportunity to expand somebody's thinking by the knowledge that you may have achieved outside the area that you're currently responsible for. Broadening their mindset and experience that you could bring to them also helps with that. But I think there's a lot to be done, and there's a huge amount of work that you got to push out. So a lot of the times you end up just prioritizing the high return on investment projects, and you're building that time around that. So you tend to actually just fall back because it is critical for the business, right? So the business needs to come first. But I think from a balancing and prioritizing my team, I've managed to maintain very strong relationships. We're not work colleagues. We're family, and we've been building that familyness for a long time. We have a meeting every Monday, and this has been throughout COVID and continues. And that is just to have a chit chat about everything that happened in the weekend. It's got nothing to do with the work, and it's all about everyone else. So it means we work as a team, as a family. We want to know each other at a personal level.
Absolutely. And Women Automotive Network very nicely point out that they do have a mentorship program, and you can check the link in the comments if you want to apply, and the application opens May 30th. Also, we had a question about if you do want to grow, you know that mentorship is the right path, you have a mentor but you don't know what to work on. How can I know? I just know I need to grow. Would either of you like to answer that?
I think the CDP helps. If you actually are honest with yourself and you really look deep into, firstly, I think I'll highlight your passions first. Understand who you are, what you bring to the table, your strengths, your weaknesses. What's your passion? Where do you want to go? If you draw that roadmap for yourself, you'll be able to know exactly what you need to work with that mentor, because you'll match that mentor to the areas that you want to grow.
Definitely. So let's talk about something extremely important here, and that's navigating the right balance between family, professional, and personal commitments. And Nancy, you did share a little bit in the intro about some of the things that you've been on in that journey. So I'd love to hear both of your perspectives on being able to strike that right balance and that 16-hour work day, and then the family. Nancy, do you want to kickstart the discussion? Hey, I hope you're enjoying today's show. And of course, if you are, a little review or share with your friends would be much appreciated. But I just want to take a quick pause to share some interesting news that Mission Makers has unexpectedly grown into becoming a boutique podcast agency. And for the last year and a half, we've secretly been producing content for some high impact brands, from tech unicorns in Silicon Valley to disruptive companies at Davos. So if you're thinking of starting your own show and you're looking for some help, then send us a message, because we would absolutely love to bring your story to life and help you amplify your content while really connecting on a much deeper level with your audiences. Now, let's get back to the show.
I think I had life-changing milestones in my life, and I think each one of us as women, we have a lot of personal challenges that we go through. I was divorced in 2011. in the middle of launching Juke, the Nissan Juke. It was so it wasn't a divorce; it was separation in 2011, and it took me a few years to finalize the divorce in 2015. So I also have the responsibility of an extended family, and I've got 2 kids that I'm responsible for. So I'm a breadwinner, and I'm a mom and dad, because my ex doesn't really have much to do with anything. So it's a hard pill to swallow, but it also drove my drive to become independent, to be able to be the breadwinner, to be able to function financially. It gave me the push, and I think that a lot of the times the challenges that you face makes you stronger, gives you confidence, gives you the fight that you need, that agility that you have to have. For me, I continued in that manner where you really had to. You didn't have space for yourself. I didn't have space for Nancy. Nancy didn't live in Nancy's life, because I had to see to the kids. I had to see to, and my child had learning disabilities, so I had to give a lot of my time to her as well. So in all, not much sleep, not really living much of a healthy lifestyle. I tried to even include the CSR, that is community services, and all of that in my agenda as well, and studying. So very, very busy life. So when COVID started, I was one of the unfortunate people to have got COVID when they didn't have any help for us, and ended up in ICU. And being a control freak, being independent, and realized when you can't breathe and you're actually just dependent on somebody else helping you, there's nothing you can do. And you have to, you're in a circumstance that just takes you to a different mindset, because you control so much, you're independent, and you're fighting this battle the whole time. It is so important to have to crack that balance, to give yourself the chance to live, to have a happy life, to balance it with work, to be able to push back where necessary. Because if you are not healthy, not happy, you are never going to be happy at your work, and you're not going to deliver to the level that you can actually deliver when you are working.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Silvia, do you have anything you would like to share from your personal journey of balancing both?
I think, yes. I think extremely important that we set our priorities and allocate our time accordingly. And when we are setting our priorities, we truly needed to do this consciously and really taking ourselves as responsibility. I think it feels much better. So all the things when you are combining, and let's remind here in all those rounds, there is no one model. There is not a way to say this is the model. If you have a family, if you are alone, if you, it doesn't matter how it is, it's your model. So first, this is your model. And when you're deciding this, then when you are putting your priorities in business or privately, it's very important to delegate the tasks. So normally we do this business-wise. We try to delegate some, and but also privately. And it was a big experience in coming from Brazil to Europe as well. There's some countries that I worked that there is this intention that you do everything by yourself. So then reflect. Am I doing this because I'm also deciding consciously I want to do that? Or I'm doing this because I'm following a certain model? And this is then the moment that you need to try again, prioritize and delegate. And we will find ways. So when you're saying, I'm driving my son, I need to drive my son to the school, it's not you needed to. I wanted to drive my son to the school. It's my decision. Every day is full of decisions. If you stay later in the company, it's not I needed to because it's the report that I need to do. No, I want to finish this report today. It's important for me. And I think having this feeling, setting our priorities and structuring everything as a whole make you feel much better. And then I always call the priority here for me is the foundation. If you do not work on your healthy, what you're eating, how many hours you are sleeping, and if you're moving, doing some sports, yeah, and I'm talking about health here, not exaggerating, but if you're not doing that, you're not taking care of the machine. And in this big project that's life, if you're not taking care of the machine also, yeah, mental wise, the machine will tell you it's time to pay attention to your foundation. And I think this is the magic. So you are so much empowered because we can decide for everything. Try to take the challenge and opportunities and maybe say, oh, so positively way to see that. But the feeling when you're saying, I am deciding and I want to do that, helps a lot to get to the point. That's my strategy.
Thank you for sharing. And on that topic, what advice or what would be some of the key things as you reflect back to that earlier stage of journeys with being a parent? What would you go back and ask your companies that you were working for at the time to support you through that journey? Nancy, we'll start with you.
I think having a crash at work would be amazing. But yeah, I think look, there's a lot that we could have done differently, and COVID taught us that. There's ability to actually work your flexi hours. The current circumstances allows us to be working, playing, doing it whatever we want to at any time we want to, and managing it, as Silvia mentioned, managing it in that context wasn't something that was looked at in the past. If a hybrid work environment was possible in the past, was not possible, that's one of the key things I would have asked for, and that is change people's lives. It's actually not even from an income perspective. You don't even have to pay, spend a huge amount on fuel if you have to consistently be traveling. I mean, I'm 62 kilometers away from my office, and I literally have to do it morning and evening. So it does help. I think that is the biggest thing that COVID has brought for us, and the world has opened up to that.
100%. Silvia?
I think I would push, of course, there are the changes in the companies, but I try to push with my learnings from myself. I think in the past, I also spend a lot of energy reflecting why this went so bad sometimes. And I truly believe it's important to have a reflection, but don't feel guilty. Don't punish you so much many times. Yeah? As I mentioned in the beginning, energy flows where attention goes. So looks that, okay, the experience is here, and now what you can do upfront. And if you analyze the traditional culture, this was a lot where we spend energy without having any added value for the company, for yourself. It was just a bad investment of time. And I think nowadays, Nancy mentioned about the flexibility, it's there. Try to use this and not pay attention in those convention moments, and also by yourself. Be brave, set your priorities, focus on the things that you can change. The other ones, just take your learnings and go ahead. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. So we'll have two more questions before we open up to the floor. So if you do want to ask our panelists some questions, start writing in the chat. But in a world that's characterized by significant disruption and rapid change, we know the future of mobility is undergoing huge transformations. And of course, the emergence of AI is disrupting the future of the workforce. And there are huge challenges and huge opportunities ahead for the future and current generations. So Silvia, what critical systems and approaches will organizations need to adopt to ensure effective collaborations between humans and AI, really striking the right balance between synchronicity in their operations together?
Yeah, exactly. And I think here it's extremely important that the companies invest in certain approach. And the first thing for me is the very clear communication and transparency here, that we are really showing very clear where we are investing, and that the people also can follow that. And that is because this whole process, it's not going to be replacement of jobs. It's going to be just more transformation, adaptation. So then you have the opportunity for the whole employees also to adapt to these scenarios. And I think it's more even then important that we then are open to also learn and there's no new skills. And the machine as well, because all of us know the whole things are not totally precise, so there is still way to go. And this transformation need to be together. So first, as I mentioned, clear communication, transparency about all those things. And then it's also very important that you pay attention, the number two, at the whole ethical frameworks and governance. So this involves addressing here issues with the bias, privacy, and also fairness and in AI decision making. Extremely important. And we need to here also to invest in experts that we here develop in this field. Then it's for me a very important topic as well that you continue monitoring this and evaluating all the time. How do you do that? Then really here taking feedback and making the necessary adjustments. So all the time you're seeking for also more optimization and involving also our people. This is the secret to make the right balances, having here the teams and everybody involved. And I would also put something on top, that the whole thing with the psychological safety. This is extremely important here, having here this environment where everybody has a voice, that they can speak up. For me, it's an essential topic when you are leaders. So we have like at BIO, I have the practice that every Monday we have our tribe space. So we are now around about 600 people in the world. And every Monday you have a moment there for question and answers, very openly talk, speak up. And this, I think, make the difference in the culture as well, because this is a transformation that all of us needed to go together. So those would be my highlights, Farah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And in this increasingly automated world, it's no surprise that the World Economic Forum reports that soft skills are one of the top 10 skills of tomorrow. So what do you both believe are like some of those essential soft skills and mindsets that we really need to focus on to cultivate that success in this AI era? And Nancy, we'll start with you.
Look, I think one of the key things that AI will not have is your soft skills. And I think a nice example is a lot of organizations transforming, but one of the key things is call centers. First responders are being employed in call centers. And there's a reason for that. Something that where you need empathy, compassion, that type of skill set is especially in circumstances where it is necessary to not get emotional and to react in a certain way. First responders actually are skilled for it. So that's an example of how soft skills are being used. The reality of it is having the one key thing that I have been finding is that soft skill is not necessarily just there and needed for building the customer experience, but it's also the employees. If we don't actually maintain and sustain that within our employee workforce, and the satisfaction of the employees are not there, you're not going to ever get that soft skills out into the for the customer to experience it. What your employees experience is what you're actually giving out there. So the reality of us as a business, as an organization, we have to be able to transform the internal culture and to ensure that the employee satisfaction is there to be able to then use that soft skills, grow their soft skills, make them believe in it, and then you will be able to utilize that externally. And I think a misconception on AI is one of that, is the fact AI is going to be able to reduce the workload, it's going to do complex things, and that is for sure. But I think one of the key things it will never replace is the social side of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'd like, if it's okay, also to add a little bit on that.
Of course.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think it's extremely important on top that what Nancy has said, but also here with the part with critical thinking and problem solving. So those things are extremely needed. Otherwise, even the AI will not advance anymore. So this is also something when I'm recruiting, for example, yeah, we have the hard skills that they are part of the challenge, but the most important interview, it's not what people know in that moment, but the ability for the problem solving and the discontinuous learning. So I say with the growth mindset, this is the biggest part what I'd like to be selective when you are hiring somebody. And also in this direction, even I think the part with learning, it needs to be a habit. As I mentioned in the beginning, there are certain things on the foundation, and I think the learning, we cannot exclude it anymore. It needs really to be a habit here. And also then the self-management, the part with the resilience and how you go with stress tolerance and also flexibility is really important, and that we will not get to go to from the machine. So those are soft skills that must come together to this beautiful challenge to combine human and AI.
Absolutely, and we also need to keep our bodies fit to actually work all the time on these digital devices. So we'll open up for audience Q&A, and I'll just kick off with one of the first ones that came through earlier from Christina Albert, who asked Nancy, if you speak up for a fair promotion, you get promises and over promises, but in the end nothing happens. What do you recommend? So when would you walk away, or what would you do in that situation?
I think many circumstances we put a lot of expectation on HR or somebody to take you through that next step. I do believe that you have to manage that expectation on your own. Where if there's a commitment that there is a roadmap that you want to achieve, if the possibility is not internal within your organization, look out there. Don't restrain yourself. Don't restrict yourself because you're loyal to a company. You have so much to give, so much of skill set. And if you see your value as you need to grow, then I would suggest that you look and take responsibility for your own career path. The other element is, especially when you have a sponsor and you have mentors, that actually helps you a lot, because the one key thing that your sponsor should be helping you with, and if they are really truly your a sponsor, is to take you with them. So your career journey, maybe you have to, obviously you gotta put in the effort and learn and train yourself and upskill yourself. That is a continuous thing you're gonna have to do. But if you get to a point where you realize you are worth much more than that, you either allow for the opportunity for the organization to do it, to help you through it with the commitment, and you follow through that, you follow up with that, and you and if that's not happening, change course. And one of the key things that you have to think about is alphas, the new generation coming in. We're not set up for that. They recommend they're not going to be the typical employee that we see here today. They're going to be very different. They're probably going to have 3 or 4 jobs at a time. They're not going to stay stagnant. You're not going to have a retention the way you think it would be. And they're going to be delivering their value proposition in a different way. You're never going to restrain them just to one job. Not going to happen. And I don't think we're ready to actually embrace that.
It's a very good point. Silvia, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
I think she covered very well. I would also say behind this. Yes.
Very good. So we have a question for you, Silvia. How do you remain calm and composed in a high stress environment?
Oh yeah, okay. Lots of learnings how to develop on that. I think it's extremely important first when you also have a situation that you succeed in the stress moment. Take a moment in the evening, breathe, and really see, I made it. I made it. Because this is how the whole thing we will be incorporated. This is about the whole emotional intelligence. So it's extremely important. And go take the risks and do the things. Once you do that, And at the end, also have this in the reflection. Next time you needed to go, remember about the one that you already did, and you were, strong enough. This is one thing that's very important for this awareness, that how strong you are, and really materializing this. A second thing, it's extremely important if you are in certain moments that you see it's a lot of stress, the breathe. How you breathe. This plays a huge role all the time. So there are techniques, and not difficult thing. Just invest some moments. You're going to see nobody will realize, but you are breathing the proper way, and now you get relaxed. Then also pay attention about the posing. That also helps us a lot. Feel that you are empowered and you are able to do that. And also think what you need to offer. Don't think that badly things how people can react. Think, I am prepared. You did your job, and now you are conducting a good thing. And if you are combined that, those would be my hints for this moment that you can take.
Fantastic advice. Thank you, Priyanka, for asking the question. Ellie asked a question that totally agree, psychological safety is really important. However, with growth of AI, how can you reassure employees it won't replace them? Would actually love to know both your thoughts on that. Nancy?
I think it's especially on AI, as I mentioned previously, it's definitely going to play a massive part on removing a lot of manual, invaluable steps in a process. Going to improve the complexity, reduce the complexity, do a lot of things. But again, AI is never going to learn just on its own. It needs the human intervention. It needs support. And when you're building data, AI or data science or any of that, you roll out a specific deployment. You want to have predictiveness. It's not 100%. You're going to continuously optimize. You need to have the human element to be able to build it, to nurture it, to grow it, because natural language, yes, it's available, it's there, and it's obviously supporting AI. You can build it, you can code it, but there is a room for failure. So there is a human element that is going to always be needed. It's never going to just take over and remove jobs. And the other part of it is the soft skills. The soft skills come very, very hand in hand with AI, and that can only be dealt with from a human element. That social skills is not going to be there. So it can never replace every part of the business. It's not going to be possible. So, your predictiveness, your thinking and all of that, yes, maybe it gives you a hand up. Reality of what we do in CX is, and what you're going to build eventually is the value adds that you're building for your customer is something you have to be able to foresee before your customer even knows that they want it. So that's where business is moving. And to do that, you have to be on the ground, on the floor, listening, hearing at every point to be able to deliver that.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Well, we have unfortunately reached the end. Would love to thank you both so much for your invaluable wisdom and insights and time. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed having this conversation. If you want to grab a copy of today's show notes, then head over to missionmakers.com, where you'll also find notes from all of our previous episodes. And if you're interested in talking to me about future opportunities at Davos, producing podcasts, or coming down to some of our music and motorsports events, then you can reach out to me at missionmakers or at dj.n1nja on Instagram. Thank you as ever for listening, and until next time, keep it laser focused.